All right, so I guess this is recording in progress now.
Yes.
Hello, people of the Zandie Boi Estates and a company. My name is Zandie Boi. I'm joined by Jadyn. Hello, Jadyn. How are you today?
I'm pretty damn good. Thanks for
Pretty damn
asking.
good. Yeah. I don't care.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no problem. We were having a heated discussion about Mando season 3 before we got on here today. Um, Jadyn, would you like to begin our discussion of Mando?
it. Yeah. So Mandalorian season 3. Um, very divisive season, I would say.
Hmm.
I feel like it's kind of gone back to its true nature of being Star Wars and being a divisive property, which is like every Star Wars thing these days.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was really divisive, and I feel like it's kind of just two sides to it. You either think it was really good or you think it was really bad.
Hmm.
And there's been like I feel like almost no in between. And I don't know. It's just like it's just typical Star Wars in my
Yeah.
opinion. Like it's just typical Star Wars fans and being divided and not knowing what they think and you know yeah, it's just very complicated. But personally
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought the writing was good, I thought the characters were good. I thought Bo-Katan taking the lead was actually very interesting.
Hmm.
A lot of people complain that like, oh, Din Djarin wasn't in it as much. Oh, he's the main character, but I know a lot of people say this, and I agree with it. Like, it's called The Mandalorian, not just because of him.
Yeah.
Because of this whole season was like, I felt like a culmination of everything, and telling the entire story of that entire race of people, which is
Mm-hmm.
the more interesting part. Like, Din Djarin's a great character. I think he's actually one of the best Star Wars characters ever. But I would say so.
Okay. Fine.
I wouldn't. No, I'm not saying he's like better than like like Darth Vader, but like
Yeah. Who is your favorite Star Wars character?
um, Darth Vader pretty obviously. I mean, he's
Uh,
the main character, so it's kind of a safe bet. But
Mine's Captain Rex.
oh, Captain Commander, Captain.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah, that Clone Wars show is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I have his $100 Lego minifigure.
Oh yeah,
Dude, I got it when I was younger. Got it from like my seventh birthday. Still have that figure. If I want to now, I could sell it for like $80.
yeah. I
Dude.
have a Captain Rex. I have a Lego Captain Rex too, but I bought it for like $5 at some like Lego fair. It looks like shit, bro. It looks like
It's probably like a knockoff then or
I
something.
know it is a knockoff.
Yeah, but
Lego pieces like don't fit other Lego pieces, so
yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
cheap.
definitely.
Like
There's also phase two Captain Rex that's like $200 now.
yeah,
It's crazy.
I don't mess with that whole like Lego collecting world. Like if I can get a cheap knockoff that looks good enough, like I'll take it.
Yeah.
I don't care about because then you get into like, oh, this piece is worth this much. That makes it valuable. It's like, but this piece looks like shit. Or
Yeah.
it looks like shit. You're just gonna get it because it costs a lot. Like
Yeah. I know, and we'll get to Mando's season 3 discussion again in a little bit, but I follow this Lego Facebook group for Lego Star Wars. And this is one guy who is selling a like Sabine Wren helmet from Rebels for like $90. Just
the
a
Lego
helmet for
one?
$90.
Was it Lego?
Yeah, like the small ass Lego helmets for $90.
Well, that's that bullshit. I don't get
Yes,
involved.
it's literally bullshit. Yeah, it's so crazy. But going back to Mando season 3, I would agree that I don't know if you think it's the best season so far, but I would say it's at least comparable to season 1. I personally wasn't a big fan of season 2, mainly because they brought back Boba Fett, and I personally don't advocate for Star Wars characters coming back from the dead. Most
Mm.
notably with like Palpatine, or I think they did Darth Mobile, but also with Cad Bane, there's apparently he had survived his confrontation with Boba Fett. So
Yeah.
like literally two characters who are supposed to be dead, still alive, which is ridiculous to me.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I didn't like season 2 at all. Season 3, I thought it started strong. Like I was convinced, like, oh, I like Mandalorian again. Like I like because I was a little down on Star Wars for a little bit with Mandalorian season 2, episode 9, Book of Boba Fett, like all coming out around the same time.
Book of Boba Fett was definitely like the worst one.
Yeah,
I kind of enjoyed it, but I was like, whoa, this is bad. It's so many times.
like I like the Mando aspects of it,
Yeah, but
surprisingly.
that's it.
But like
Yeah.
literally, it's called the Book of Boba Fett. You can't have these other characters come in and like take precedence over the show. But
I mean,
like,
I also think whenever Boba Fett was the main focus, the show just wasn't good.
yeah,
Like I
exactly.
don't think I don't think the problem was, oh, they should have focused more on Boba Fett. I think the problem was just they didn't do that well. So they probably felt like they needed to put Mandalorian in there because the Boba Fett stuff was just bad. And
And
I thought it was
they honestly didn't have enough ideas for it either.
oh no they didn't. Yeah.
No,
I thought the one idea I liked in that show, and I've only seen the show once. I've never
yeah,
rewatched almost
same.
any,
Hmm.
except for like that one episode where they had Luke. That was like that was a pretty special episode.
Okay.
Uh, but everything else, I mean, even that one didn't have Boba Fett. Like it's just, but I feel like the only interesting idea I liked was that he was like, not adopted, but he was like taken in by the Tusken Raiders, and he was
Yeah,
like taught compassion. I like that to an extent. I like the
yeah,
scenes
to
kind of like
extent.
to like not be a bounty hunter and be like a good, a good person and like kind of have family values again. I like that,
Yeah,
but at the same time, like it just got so stupid. It just got so stupid.
yeah. I think going back to like compassion thing, I think it's a little difficult to like remember also that Boba Fett he was the son of Jango Fett, and I think it's like easy to like kind of forget that because of how
They didn't mention,
different.
yeah. They didn't even they did like totally disregarded it. It was
Wait, no.
should have included something.
I thought there's like at least like a flashback scene of him on Camino.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I feel like
Oh,
I'm.
but they didn't talk about Jango Fett. They didn't show him. They didn't. I don't feel like they didn't mention him.
Hmm.
I feel like that character has a lot. Like even
Yeah,
the Clone Wars show with him like as a kid wanting the revenge and stuff like that. Like that's like the least interesting parts of it, but that's still good. Like Boba Fett,
that's still character. That's more character than in his own show.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but definitely they could like incorporate the family values into the show, especially because he did create his own family in the Book of Boba Fett. Like he had the lady, I forget her name,
Oh,
Fennec Shand.
I
Yeah,
actually think she was the best character in that show. She's
yeah,
like actually a good addition to Star Wars.
yeah,
I like her. She's actually a very solid character.
yeah. I also, oh my god, I also forget that she died too. Like she had her own fake out death.
Oh yeah,
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 season one, yeah.
yeah. She like died for real. I was like, what?
No, like in the show, like in season one,
Yeah,
like they had the whole fake out scene with like in
yeah.
one of the episodes. But I
And
forgot about that too.
killed her. Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that.
It was, I think it was like Mando. He was like on a mission or something.
That was like a random season one episode. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, and then they had like Boba Fett sounds like in the background and like started the whole theory of oh Boba Fett's coming back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
I mean, I
I
get with a show
sorry.
called Mandalorian, you're gonna bring back. It was a matter of time before they bring back the most popular Mandalorian character. So I don't know. I mean,
I,
you might disagree, but
mm,
you probably will disagree because you didn't like season two, and I think season two is the best season. So we're probably gonna disagree on a lot of stuff.
we are.
That's what Star Wars fans do.
Yeah, okay.
But
As long as we're civil about it, of course.
I like the fact that they brought Boba Fett back because, well, in hindsight, it might not have been as good because now, as a character, what is he now? He's kind of like nothing. He's not. He's
Yeah.
like I don't like. I feel like I don't care about the next time I see him again. I
Yeah,
don't.
because
I don't
like he's treating like all of what he's known for to be a bland like family value character. Like they can make all that intriguing, but they didn't do that. They like sacrificed all that for the Mandalorian because they recognized that was more popular.
Yeah, which is smarter because
Yeah, it's
currently right
smart.
now, Mandalorian is a better character, right? He's
Definitely, definitely.
cooler. He's a better actor playing him.
Yeah.
He's just a better character right now, which is fine. That's what it is right now. Also, you have to think of the fact that Boba Fett, he's a good character, but why was he before he came back in Mandalorian? What was he popular for? He was popular because he
He was
looked cool.
cool. Yeah.
He looked cool. That's it.
Yeah, that's
That's
it.
Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And the only reason why people talked about him and like thought of him as like like, oh, I like this character because
Hmm.
he had cool armor. That is it.
That's it. Yeah,
Any story. He actually like was like such a bad character in the in the original trilogy. He didn't do
yeah.
shit. He didn't do
I
anything.
I rewatched episode 6 when it came back in theaters, and I watched the scene where Boba
Oh,
Fett's like his fake out death,
yeah.
and it's so bad. Like the scene where like he gets like stabbed, like his jetpack gets stabbed with this like this the stick. Like it's
Mm,
all in slow motion because Han is blind at that point. So it's
yeah.
all in slow motion. Boba Fett doesn't notice that like his jetpack
Yeah.
just got hit. He goes in the air. He just flies around for like a couple of seconds, and then the Starlight it burps, and then let's imply like, oh, he died. Like it's so fucking bad.
I think in my opinion, the reality of it is that I don't think Boba Fett was ever a good character.
No,
I think he just people liked him because he looked cool
yeah,
and he was never some like incredible character. Um, but I think that he was still, you know, a worthwhile character because he was a bounty hunter and because he was like, he had the history with like his dad dying. I think actually
yeah,
Jango Fett was a better character than Boba Fett.
yeah.
Jango Fett actually
He
had
was.
involved in the story and actually like, had like an emotional connection to his son and like that was actually discussed. Jango Fett's a better character. But
Speaking
Boba
of,
Fett is such a and this is with all of the original trilogy, Boba Fett is kind of just like so beloved because he was in those beloved movies.
yeah. Speaking
Anyone in
of,
those movies is just gonna be,
yeah,
loved, adored, which is, I mean, I
it's
guess
fair.
that's fair because those are the
Yeah.
beloved movies.
Speaking of which, like with Jango Fett, like we don't know his backstory either. Like we don't know why he was chosen by the Kaminoans to be like the set like president for what the clone should look like. Like we don't know why he was like the apex specimen, basically. Nor do we know like his background of why he became a bounty hunter in the first place. Nor do
Yeah,
we know like his whole objective with like teaming up with Count Dooku. It's all just like he was hired for the job and that's it. Like there's so much potential with this
that
character
story, that
that we
story,
don't
has
know about.
more, that story has more potential than Boba Fett.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
were thinking that they were like, oh, what did Boba Fett do? I think the fact that they showed the scene where Boba Fett escaped the Starlight Pit, I honestly think that was the only scene that they needed. Like,
They could have had that in Mandalorian season 2, and then they could have had the first 3 episodes of like the episodes in Book of Boba Fett where Mando was part of it. They could have had that in season 3.
yeah,
Get rid of the dinosaur episode where like the little kids with the Toys R Us mask gets kidnapped. Like get rid of that episode, and then you have pretty much a perfect season besides the ending, which that could also be fixed with like just a couple of changes.
you talking about Mando season 2 or Book of Boba Fett?
I'm talking about how the scene where Boba Fett is in the Sark pit, like had that in season 2 as like a little backstory for why he's still alive. And then the Book of Boba Fett episodes where Mando he survives. I mean, like not that he survives, like the episodes where like he's the center point of Book of Boba Fett. Have
Mm-hmm.
that in season 3, and get rid of the dinosaur episodes in Mando season 3 because I didn't like that episode at all. And then yeah, pretty much a perfect season that way.
It's sad that I don't even know what you're talking about right now. I don't even remember what you're talking
Wait,
about.
like you don't remember the dinosaur episode? The like the big dragon that like kidnaps the kids.
Oh, in Mandalorian.
Yeah, in the Mandalorian.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I do.
yeah. I'm saying like get rid of that episode in season 3, and then put in the 3 Mando specific episodes of Book of Boba Fett into season 3,
Mm,
and then
yeah.
that way you have like a much better season that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that. Yeah.
Mm.
I feel like getting back to Mando kind of, I feel like it's very complicated because I think of the seasons like kind of almost in halves. I think of like, oh, the first half of the season was really good. Second half of this season was like just as good or not as good.
Mm.
Um, I kind of feel like we're not in halves, but I think of it like I think of the finale. I hold the finale in high regards. Like the finale kind of like is a big deal to me and how
It
that
should
season
be. Yeah, it should be. Like
it should be.
that's the last impression.
It is in every show, but also like I feel like Disney Plus shows they save a lot of budget for the finale and they save a lot of like plot points for the finale. I feel this way with I think it's actually a trend with Disney Plus. Like I don't know if you're
Yes.
WandaVision too, which is a
Yes.
beloved show, but it
Mm.
saved a lot of shit for the finale.
Yeah, and I personally wasn't that big of a fan of the finale either. Like
Yeah.
WandaVision is a show, like the idea of it, that's pretty cool. And then
Mhm.
the you have the finale where like it's just a basic like idea for like a Marvel MCU film, which is like big production like fight between protagonist and antagonist, which
Mhm.
like kind of sidetracking for a little bit. Like they didn't need to have a villain in WandaVision because Wanda was her own villain.
Yeah.
Like they didn't need to have a villain. They just decided like we need a villain to
Yeah.
like have like the basic premise of like good versus evil. But also just like with every MCU show, and I personally haven't really watched the MCU shows because I don't find them that interesting. But from what I gather, it's just like the same idea every single time. Where like this big bad threatens the universe, even though the character who we've been exploring the entire show isn't like that big of a deal. So like it has very low stakes. And that's kind of how Mando season 3 was with the finale, where like it was big stakes because this was Mandalore, this was the home of the Mandalorians. But also, did they need to have the Empire and Moff Gideon get involved? They could have just had it be the Mandalorians need to figure out a way to like reestablish control over the planet, reestablish a way to like make it habitable again for themselves. That could have been like the evil. That could have been just like a certain like thought process in the Mandalorians. That could have been it. It didn't need
And
to be like a figural like representation of evil.
yeah, I mean, I would disagree with that because I like the fact that the Empire, because you got to remember, the Empire was the force that destroyed their planet, and like
Okay.
made their entire species had like circle out. That's the reason why it's like there's all this drama with the Mandalorians now because the Empire wiped them out essentially. So I
Okay.
like the idea that the Empire were the villains, but I don't like the fact that they just like saved everything for the finale. And like circling back to like just Disney Plus shows as a whole, like
Mhm.
Wanda, I like the finale of WandaVision, but
Okay.
just like WandaVision did this. Um I remember Loki did this too. That was a pretty good show. But
Yeah.
it's like kind of just like dance around for the first few episodes, dance around, they're fun, but they dance around.
Yeah.
They push everything for like the last two episodes
Yeah.
or the last episode. So you're just like the entire time you're only watching so you can get up to the last episode. You're only waiting for something significant in the last episode. And Mandalorian season 3, like I did like it, and I thought a lot of the stuff was good. And them
Mhm.
forming and them with Bo-Katan and like calling other Mandalorians, things like that. But
That's cool.
the real story of it ended up being that against the Empire, and they saved that for the last episode. And it was done terribly because they brought back Moff Gideon for
Yeah.
essentially no reason. It just felt very random. And
Yeah.
when I watched it with my girlfriend Layla, and I told her I was like, this felt like I watched. Well, first of all, I stayed up till 3 a.m. to watch it, so maybe that's
Oh,
part.
yeah, it's not the best
Right.
start.
But I thought like this feels like a bad dream. Like this feels very like fan servicey. Maybe not fan service. Maybe that's the wrong word, but like very like cute. Very. It didn't feel like a proper finale. It didn't feel like it was a part of the rest of the season. It just felt it almost felt like they created the finale, like the creators of the finale had nothing to do with the creators of the rest of the show.
Hmm.
Like I feel like the rest of that season felt very different from the finale. And that's why I was so excited for the finale, and I was so shocked that they kind of like changed everything just felt so different. It just
Okay.
felt so different. And I was really shocked because I was so excited. Because that episode before the finale was so good. I think it's possible, maybe behind the Luke episode, but I think that episode might be the best episode of the entire show. The one before the Mando season 3 finale. That might be my favorite episode of the show. Might be. It was
Yeah.
just action packed. The CGI was gorgeous. CGI was like ridiculous in my opinion.
Hmm.
Like Mandalorian,
I really like the
people,
Praetorian Guard fight.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
pretty good too. But also like people don't give credit to the Star Wars shows, any Star Wars show. They
Yeah.
have incredible CGI and like graphics.
Especially for a television show on a streaming service too.
It's like you're not thinking about that. Like I think about it because I see all the Marvel shows and I see how shit the CGI can be.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I give them leeway because like, oh, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Miss Marvel had terrible CGI. I think it was a good show, but Miss Marvel had terrible CGI. Moon
Mm.
Knight had terrible CGI sometimes, but I give it a pass. I'm like, okay, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, I don't have to do shit because the CGI is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. It looks movie like almost near every episode.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
I think that's the part with just, it's Star Wars, you know, and they probably have they
They probably have
have
a bigger budget too.
they probably have a bigger
Yeah.
budget because Marvel's like getting out a lot of shows and Star Wars only kind of doing like one at a time.
Mm.
Um, like what are they doing? They're doing like Ahsoka in a few months. Ahsoka
So
would be the only show for a while until Mando season 4.
yeah. So actually, I kind of want to touch on Ahsoka a little bit too. We've heard leeway into like having Sabine can like have her as a character be connected to Mandalorian, who is also in Ahsoka, and also maybe you could explain it being like, Sabine needs Moff Gideon because Moff Gideon knew Thrawn or something, and he would know where Thrawn would probably be.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of connection like that. But
I,
I
I
thought it was
would
wasted potential personally.
I would disagree with that because I like the fact that or I want the fact to be that all these problems are within their own show and all these like conflicts are within their own show, which is why I thought, and this, I thought at the time I thought Bo-Katan did it, and I thought it'd be
Yes,
such
yes, yeah,
such a
I
good
remember
twist
that.
if Bo-Katan ended up being the villain. That'd have been awesome. You know what I mean? Like that to build her up as like, oh, she because she did become more the protagonist in the season. To
Mhm.
build her up as like the protagonist and like her being the one to like unite Mandalore, and then having her switch up at the end to be a villain would have been incredible,
And
incredible.
you could have explained that because Mando had the dark saber, and
Exactly.
Bo-Katan wanted it.
I was almost confused because remember the whole thing with like, oh, who's the spy? There was a whole bunch of talk about
It
that.
was a spy.
They remember there was a whole bunch of talk before the finale. People were asking like, "Oh, who do we think the spy is?" Because the episode before was called "The Spies."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Saying like, "Oh, I
So
think the armorer is a spy." I think maybe you said that even.
yeah. I think I sent you the video. Like the Star Wars explained video where it's like the explanation is like it's like a religious sort of thing, and the
Yeah,
Mandalorian starts saying it's religious
I,
cult.
I get that. Yeah, and I get all that now, but like, I find
It
it
was very vague too. Like no one's
very
like
very fucking vague, and also like,
very few people are going to understand that too.
but I think, and I know like this has been a problem. Like people like I remember WandaVision, there was a problem because people created theories in their head and they were upset they didn't come true. I hate when people
Yeah.
do that. I'll admit I've done that sometimes, but I try
Mhm.
not to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like it just felt like uninteresting to me. The fact that they didn't do it felt uninteresting to me.
Mhm.
And I was trying to think. I was like, okay, there's no spy. Let me like try to understand the story they're doing. There was
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
It was so basic. It was just okay. Moff Gideon came back a third time. Moff Gideon was the villain of the first season, in the very last episode. The
Yeah.
second he was good in the entire second season. But then the third
Yeah.
season comes back again in the very last episode to be the villain.
Yeah.
Like,
And the only time which they mentioned him or like actually referenced that he was a character to begin with from like previous seasons was like in passing conversation too. They didn't make him a big deal, which they should have because he's a villain returned for the third time.
and
Plus, like they
also
have like all the clone machinery too.
I feel like first of all, he's a great villain. So like it doesn't necessarily kill the entire show that he's
Mm,
the villain multiple times because he's first of all, he's a good actor and he's a good character and he's very interesting.
mm,
Um, but if you're gonna bring him back a third time, what you're gonna do it for nothing? You're gonna do it just
yeah,
to be the villain. There's no interesting thing about it. Oh, he's creating clones. Wow, that's like wow,
that's
that's so
what we've known for 2 seasons now.
known for like and the entire 3 seasons that he's been trying to clone people. Oh, but now out of nowhere in the finale, oh, he's trying to clone himself all this time. It's different. What's the point?
Also,
Yeah.
why would he want to clone himself when the whole idea was that he wanted Baby Yoda?
Well, because he wanted the Force, that's why.
Yeah, I get that, but also wouldn't he want to clone himself after he had Baby Yoda?
I think he already got what he needed from Baby Yoda in season 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because
Yeah,
he kidnapped him. Yeah, I forgot about that.
yeah. But I just
It's so fucking stupid.
I just don't like the fact that they kind of crammed everything into the finale, and also it was
Hmm.
just very basic and not like special in any way.
Hmm.
I thought it was the writing was also bad too. Like it was just like
It all felt very
really
forced.
very forced. Everything was so forced, bro.
Yeah.
So forced.
And also like all the different scenes where it was like where they had what was I going to say? Oh yeah, like the scenes where like all the Mandos were like in the sky and like
Yeah,
they're fighting with the weapons. Like that looks so fucking like the CGI was incredible, of course, but like it looks so fucking stupid.
I
Like
would
seeing
know.
the armor with
I'll
like
admit,
her like tools like
I'll admit the
stopping
CGI
people's
looked
cheeks.
bad in that scene. CGI looked actually like they must have used it on the previous episode because CGI was bad in that scene when they're all flying. That looked bad.
Yeah, I thought it was okay, but yeah,
My problem is not with CGI. My problem is with just like it
yeah,
being
I know that. Yeah,
so. Like it's not like they were leading up to Moff Gideon the whole season.
no.
They threw him in at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And plus, like, they brought back characters that they killed off too. Like with IG, not IG-11,
Yeah.
whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is, bro.
Yeah, but like they brought him back. They did all this shit. I saw this criticism online, which I do agree with. They course corrected everything. They had Mando and Grogu come back together, which is the best move, but also should they have even done that in season two to begin with?
That's a fair
They
point. That's a fair point.
Yeah. They could have had Grogu like decide when he was on the ship with Luke. He could have been like, yeah, I would prefer to be with Mando. Like I want to be with the guy who just like show
Yeah.
his face to me and like who I've been with for much longer. They just course corrected everything, you know? And they had Bo-Katan like in the show too. Like Bo-Katan, she had her helmet on because she was like an honorary member of Mando's crew. And then the armor's like, oh, you can take your helmet off. You're like the leeway between like the two worlds. Like they course corrected everything, including in the own it's in the season itself.
True. I would agree with that because that Luke moment in season 2 is I think one of the best moments in Star Wars ever.
Yeah.
Like to be done, ever to be done. Like
Yeah.
that makes me cry to this day of how
Yeah.
beautiful.
I agree with you. I think the best scene personally for me is the Praetorian Guard fight in episode 8. I think that's the best scene in Star Wars.
Mm, okay. Yeah, they were very cool. I actually liked them since Last Jedi Praetorian Guards.
Yeah.
Since time is running out, I feel like do you think we should like rank the seasons? I feel like that would be a good way to close this out, ranking the Mandalorian seasons.
Um, yeah, sure. Um, I'd say season 2 is last. Season 3 is second. Season 1 is still the best. Season 3 is second. It should have been first, but because of the finale, it's second.
Mm-hmm. If yeah, I agree with that. I think I would disagree and put season 2 at the top
Mm,
because all the cameos and stuff, you could say they're cheap. The Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, even the Luke cameo, you could say like, oh, that's the only reason you think it's good, but
yeah.
it felt like Star Wars to me. It felt like very much like an adventure of him just trying to find, a place to put him. And also Moff,
Yeah.
that was Gideon's best season too. Like he was a very good force the entire
Yeah.
season.
And actually, to go off your point, because I actually agree with you, I think the Ahsoka episode is my favorite episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's a great.
Believe it or not, considering like season 2 is my least favorite.
Mhm. And yeah, that Luke scene is just otherworldly. I remember rewatching that scene like so many times.
Mm,
So many times. But I would put season 2 at 1.
mm,
Also because it ended so well. That's probably the biggest part of it.
yeah.
And I would put season 3 at number 2.
Yeah.
The finale holds it down, but the whole season is very good. And
Yeah.
then I have season 1 at number 3. I remember watching season 1 and thinking it was uneventful. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
still good. Every season of Mandalorian is good. It's the one of the most popular shows right now for a reason.
Hmm.
Because it's so fun with Mandalorian and Grogu.
Yeah.
Everyone likes it, but it felt the least eventful of all the seasons. So that's
Yeah.
my
Don't be I don't mean to be abrupt, but we have less than a minute left, so I'm going to like wrap things up.
All right.
Thank you for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoy. I have you, Jadyn, on for a future episode. Maybe we'll talk about John Wick next
Yeah.
time, actually. All right.
Cool. All
All
right.
right. See ya.
Thanks.